What's up, class? Welcome back to Mr. Boyette's ABE Math class. Today we're going to be talking about mean, median, mode, and range. So I figured that a few of you may need some extra clarification on this. I know that my video on my website tends to run a little short in as far as examples and so forth. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make two videos about mean, median, mode, and range. The first one, I'm just going to briefly go over the rules with you guys again a little more clearly, and in the second video, I'll be giving you guys some examples of problems where you'll have to solve for all the pieces. So let's go ahead and begin. All right, so when we're talking about mean, we're talking about the average. So the average of the group, to find the average, you have to add up all numbers in the data set and divide the total that you get by the amount of numbers in the data set. So I have an example right here. So let's say the numbers are 4, 6, 1, 2, and 11. You're going to add all those up together, and then you're going to divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that's how many numbers are in that set. So let's go ahead and do the example over here real quick just to show you. There'll be more examples in the next video, of course. So we have 4 plus 6 is 10, 11, 12, 13, 24, right? So we have 24 total, and we're going to divide that number by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now, normally you'll get a decimal answer in this case, but for now, before we get into decimals, if you haven't gotten there already, just use remainders. So 5 goes into 24, how many times? 4 times, just 20, subtract, and we get 4. So if you're not quite on decimals yet, that's fine. You'll just put remainder 4, so it'll be 4 remainder 4. If you have gotten to decimals and you've gotten to the dividing section, I do want you to put the decimal answer, okay? To be as precise as possible. So in that case, when you're dividing decimals, remember you're gonna add a decimal point, add a 0, all right, bring it down, bring up your decimal here. 5 goes into 40 8 times, which is 40, subtracting at 0, and when you're dividing decimals, you get a 0 on the end, you're done. So our answer would be 4.8. So that would be the mean, okay? So again, we'll have more examples of that later. So to sum up, mean is the average. So on the GED, when they say to find the average, what they mean is to find the mean. So that's your mean. Now, median is the middle number. So a lot of people get confused on median, and it's actually easy to find. There's not a lot of math to it, but you really have to pay attention to the directions here. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to organize your data set from least to greatest. So that means smallest numbers first, all the way to biggest numbers last. And you're going to pick out the middle number. Now, there's a couple ways to pick out the middle. You can either just spot it, or you can count one on each side until you get to the middle. So I'll go ahead and give you an example of that here. Now, if there are 2 middle numbers that you find, you're just going to add them together and divide by 2. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So we have the same set of data here. We're going to organize it from least to greatest. 1, 2, 4, 6, and 11. And what I like to do is, of course, when I'm reorganizing it, I like to cross out the numbers I've already used. Okay, one by one. And what that does is it just makes it a little more clear, so you don't have to go back and forth between the set of numbers and the numbers that you're organizing. Just so you don't get confused, just so you don't add in an extra number by mistake. All right, now once they're organized like this, we're gonna pick out the middle number. What I like to do is I just like to cross them out, 1 on each side, 1, 1, 1, 1, until we get to the middle. And that is our median. It's as simple as that. So our median in this case is 4. Now, some of you may be asking, well, what if there's 2 numbers? How do we do that? Well, let's say, for example, that we had a 12 over here. All right, we had an extra number. We have a 12 right here. Now that would change the problem so that there's actually 2 middle numbers. There's 4 and 6 as our middles. Now what we're going to do in this case is we're simply going to add these together. 4 plus 6 is what? 10. And then we're going to divide that by 2. An easy way to divide a number by 2 is just think whatever half of that number is going to be your answer. So what is half of 10? 5. And that is your new median. Okay? So either you're going to organize them from least to greatest and pick out the middle, or if there's 2 middles, you're going to go ahead and add those both together and divide it by 2. So that's mean and median. Now, let's really quick, I have to erase this real quick, but let's talk about mode and range, which are the last ones. Hopefully you guys have all that written down. If not, you can always pause the video. Let's go ahead and talk about those other 2 things real quick. All right. So, first thing we're going to talk about is mode. So mode's kind of easy, because mode is just the most popular number. So I'm going to put here most popular. So what the most popular number means is the number that occurs the most. So if we have a data set kind of like this, and we see this, maybe something like this. Now, this is a data set that has actually 3 most popular numbers, right? So if we count them, we get 2 1s, 2 3s, and 2 4s. So that answers the most prevalent question when talking about mode is, what if there's multiple modes? What if there's multiple numbers that repeat themselves? If there are multiple numbers that repeat themselves more than once, you're going to use all of the modes. So in this case, the mode would be 1, 3, and 4, because all of them are tied for the most popular spot. Normally though, you're going to only have 1 most popular number. So if we add another 4 in there, 4 becomes the most popular number, and our mode is going to be just 4. Okay, so you're picking whichever number occurs the most. Okay. All right, so that's the mode. Oh, one more thing. If you find a set of data that has no numbers that repeat more than once, then that means you have no mode. So for that, you would say something like NA or no mode. You would never put 0, because remember, in a set of data, 0 could be a number that you're using, all right? So never put 0, always put no mode or NA or something along those lines. All right, so the last is the range. And range is simply the difference between the greatest number and the least number. So I'm going to put that right here. So the difference the greatest number and the least. Okay. So in other words, you're going to go, it's the biggest number, biggest, minus the smallest. Okay, so an example of that, let's actually create a new example here. Hopefully everyone can see that. We have, let's say we have a data set of 1, 6, 4, 3, and 7. Okay. You're going to pick the greatest number, which in this case is the 7, and you're going to subtract the least number from it, which is the 1. So you're going to go 7 minus 1, and that is going to be 6. And that's your range. Okay. So let's go ahead, and in my next video, I'm going to go over some examples of how to do this all together and how to do this step by step. So I will see you in the next video.